Okay, welcome all guys. Yes, am I audible? Can any of you confirm if I'm audible?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir, you are.
Yes, sir. You're
Yes,
audible.
So we know we have gathered here for the awareness session on SQL. So prior to that, there are a lot of people. I will not be able to address each one of you. So I would like question to be answered. How many of you knows SQL? Yes, no. Or have you heard about it?
it's a structured query language.
Perfect.
I know the basic queries
Right.
for SQL.
Good. And anybody else?
No idea, sir.
Yes, sir. I know a little bit of
It's a
Mysql.
language to pull out data from database.
Yeah.
It's a
Right.
kind of database.
Correct. So whatever you have told does make sense, right? However, I want to have a question which what you want to answer. Does a BA require to work on SQL? And any possibility or any chance? Question to all of you before proceeding towards the session.
So your voice is not clear.
Yes, sir. Sir, your voice.
Yeah, correct. We are getting a lot of echo in the background.
Yeah.
Just a minute. Is my voice clear now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Great. So whatever you have told regarding the SQL, I agree with that. Along with that, I had a question that how many of you feel or think that BA requires to learn SQL? Any idea you want to have or you want to share? Any input is okay. Don't think that you are correct or wrong. It is out of the context, but I want you to participate, stating that you think the BA would require to have this skill. Seshu, my name is Ravi. Hi, Seshu. So, Seshu, we haven't started yet. We were just going in terms of the basic knowledge towards SQL. So, I have a question that how many of you do think that BA requires a knowledge of SQL in any role? Guys, is my question clear?
Yes, yes.
To convey technically to the project teams.
Project teams? Okay.
I mean to say the testing team.
Why would testing team require that?
Like once we give the notes, basically on that they can systematically align whatever is required.
Sujata, if you are unable to hear me, could you please log off and log in again? I believe that should help you.
Good morning. Actually, Ashish this side. I have joined recently due to network error. Actually, I can't join by time. So would you please repeat again what you actually teach us?
Yeah. Before that, can you please confirm your name? I couldn't get it.
Ashish.
Ashish. Okay, Ashish, we haven't started yet. We were just, I'm just putting a question here to all of you to know whether you are aware with the SQL and do you think SQL is required for a BA in any aspect?
Hello, sir, excuse me.
Hello?
So sorry to interrupt, but I actually want to ask, are we getting the recording of this session?
Yeah, it's happening. It'll happen.
Okay, thank you, sir. Yes.
Okay.
I don't think this is required for a BA.
Okay. You feel it's required for a BA?
I mean, maybe
Yeah, basically.
SQL is SQL is required for BA for
for gathering requirements and pass on to the technical team.
Okay, what else? I'm just trying to neutralize this question because it is important in terms of your understanding as well, so that I can relate it accordingly. So that is the only ask over here. So whatever you have thoughts, you can place accordingly. There is nothing like I may be wrong or I may be right, or my assumption is wrong or right. Nothing as such. Bring it up, and I will try to resolve it to the max possible. Okay. All of it done? Anybody wants to give it a try? I hope the question is clear, right? What I have asked you.
Yes.
Basically, BA works with many teams like development team, testing team, and also top management team. But
Right.
SQL, where we pull out the data from tables, that the data is stored in tables. So SQL basically we drag out some queries. For example, if you say in a one query means there is a result sheet of a student. So for particular student number 8, what is the percentage he got in particular in Telugu? We have to write a query to pull out the data. So basically, BA don't need a much knowledge of SQL, but he should aware of what technically is going on in the subject. In that prospect, a BA should know about SQL when working with development team.
Partially true, I would say. You're true. Partially you're true, definitely. Anybody else want to give your input? Okay.
Yes, sir. This is Vibhor.
Pardon?
Yeah, SQL is very much required. Yeah, this is Vibhor. SQL is required, for a business analyst to represent the data in a, considerable manner which we want to take it for. Like even if for client, internal client or external client, you can very well use the, data available in database and represent it in a better manner with the use of Tableau or, Power BI.
Okay. Fine. Anybody else want to put some more words towards it? Okay, fine. So I will try to answer this question from the basic perspective, and I hope this will be more relatable. As in BA, irrelevant of any domain or anywhere in the globe, SQL is not that important because you are a person who are facilitating the work. Okay, SQL is something which will give you an additional edge, wherein which you can pull up any structure which lies within the database. And basically, this aspect helps, or this SQL things work for the domain who are into like banking, just to see how the structure lies within, if it is going as per the requirement. And like we do work in banking, there are multiple fields or headers which comes across. So this particular aspect does help in that domain. However, if you're working for the IT company and it's towards any of the development phase, in my personal experience, I have never gone through this aspect of pulling up the data because nobody requires that. Is it clear to all of you? Guys, I want you to participate, yes, no, so that I'll
Yes,
get to
sir.
it.
Can you please repeat it again?
Yeah, I'll do it for you. Now, SQL is not something that important for a BA. It is important for a team organization which database team will maintain or they will look into it. You as an BA is only required in case to cross check from your personal interest or personal end, or if any request comes up, to check if the structure or the data what is being asked to create is reflecting in the proper pattern. So I believe most of us over here have worked in Excel. So if you're working in Excel, you know how you place the headers next to each other, right? So that it looks in a pattern. And thereon you given the inputs. The same thing does happen in SQL. So once you give the command and you create the table first, and thereon you input the information, the data, and it looks in aspect which how we want to see. But behind that, there are multiple incidents happening so that Once you will pull the data, and again you want to rework on that in terms of addition, deletion, or modification, it is working accordingly without any flaw or disturbing any other communicating cells. All of you clear? Does it make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So before beginning, let's understand what is an SQL. So SQL is a structured query language which are a standard of American National Standard Institute, ANSI, which is called in short form, founded in 1986, and the International Organization for Standardization, ISO, 1987. We have heard about the ISO name or the word ISO certification.
Yes, sir.
Right? It is important for most of the aspects of the company, or it may be a small business. It has to be certified so that it gives a head stating that this particular company or the organization is registered. Also, SQL is in language but not a database. We say that we work in SQL or you create work in all, but SQL is just a language. What you work under that grid of the application is the database, but SQL is not a database. Okay. So why is SQL used, and is it relatable to business analyst? So if you have to see this particular, SQL used to communicate with a database. According to ANSI, it's the standard language for relational database management system. SQL statements are used to perform tasks such as update on a database or retrieve data from a database. I hope all of you are able to see the screen, right? The presentation. Guys?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So if it's a BA or we call it a business analyst, mostly won't have to work on it. When I say mostly, in my personal experience, I have not come across many people working on it. Rather, how you told to see in some aspect how you run it, how to see the table. Sorry, if somebody's trying to speak something, your voice is disturbing. I mean, it's not clear. However, in some scenarios where BA is working for a banking or finance domain, there might be a slight possibility or a chance where you might have to work on it. When I say work, just to read it. We as in BA don't have any access or authority to write, delete, modify, or do anything. Your purpose will be to only view about the structure. Here, a BA won't use any sort of coding method, but SQL is used by a BA to only view or to extract the table structure in order to check if the work or application is tracking correctly and the input as per the need of the clients. It's a programming language that is designed to facilitate retrieving specific information from databases. All of you clear till here? Guys?
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we'll go for the next slide. SQL is practiced on SSMS demo or dummy application, mostly called as SSMS SQL Server Machine Learning System. But at times it becomes very tedious for you to download. There are multiple threads to be connected. So there is one more application which I will show you today, by based of which you can work, you can practice rather. Okay, and it will be like proxy setting, which doesn't require any system assets. I mean connection assets. So here under SQL, one can extract multiple reports for review and validation purpose, which may include IT, finance domain, banking domain, retail domain, and others. So have you, I mean, most of us would have gone to retail store, may it be a Reliance or may it be a Big Bazaar or whatever. So you might have seen an interface where the person on the other side will scan your items and the price will reflect and all, right? So that portion of screen, what you see, is a part of the Dbms because it holds many strings within it. What is database or DB? An organized collection of data that generally stored and accessed from a computer or system, mostly like in hard disk. And what is the purpose of DB? It is to organize the data and make it available in convenient forms for view or analyze purpose. Now, when we write manually on a sheet of paper, it might not be clear because of the handwriting or in the pattern. But the same thing can't be done. Gone are those days where used to maintain all those things manually. And since introduction of system and DB had helped many of us smooth down the work. DB is one among them, which gives you structure, information, or the data input or output. What types of DB is available? Can any of you tell me? If you are having any idea on that, what types of DB is available?
Structured, non-structured, reliable.
Let me help you out. It's only two varieties or the two kinds of it. Dbms, that is database management system, and the next one is Rdbms, which stands for relational database management system. These are the two types only available currently on the globe. Okay, so we have some fundamentals, which is basically termed in terms of a CRUD, C-R-U-D. C stands for create, R stands for read, U stands for update, and D stands for delete. Be assured that you as an VA will be only having the access depending upon the authority if they give you for reading purpose only. We don't have the access for creating, updation, or deletion. Reason being, once the data is created in the SQL, and if something goes wrong, it will be tough to recall again because it was a string of work which is interconnected. Any missing or any deletion can cause a huge loss of data. So as a VA, it's known across that we will be only having the access depending upon the domain again to read only. Clear? All of you?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Let's understand the feature of Dbms and Rdbms. If you can see the screen, Dbms is application store data mostly in the file terminology. Rdbms on the right screen is application store data in a tabular form. So when I say Excel, okay, how many of you, I believe most of you would have worked in MS Excel or would have seen the interface, correct? So if you see in that aspect, it is always in tabular form, rows and column, right? Guess what? If the entire screen is blank over there, and it's like a word pad, will you be able to store data? You will be able to store data definitely, but will you be able to put in a tabular form? Or will it be easy if the data is huge?
No.
You have to struggle a lot to align them and give them proper format and all those things. So Rdbms gives you that additional edge, which always is in a tabular form. Going with the Dbms, data is generally stored in either a hierarchical form or in navigational form. We will be able to relate it. In Rdbms, the table have an identifier called primary key, and the data values are stored in a form of tables. Dbms again uses file system to store data, so there will be no relation between the tables. Okay, but in Rdbms, data values stored in the form of tables, so a relationship between these data will be stored in form of tables as well. Why? If there is no relation, your output will not come correctly. We will see more in that. Dbms is meant to be for a small organization and deal with the small data. It supports single user at a time. Let's say example, your DTDC courier, have you seen near to your home or area? You will find one person sitting there. Have you ever noticed?
Yes.
Right. So it is for them. It will be easy because
Yes,
they know how to maintain it. Rdbms is designed to handle large amount of data. It supports multiple users, like your company or big enterprises, where you have multiple accounts, multiple data, multiple divisions. That all has to be maintained. So Rdbms will help to maintain that thing in a structured or table form. So Rdbms basically is out of Dbms and it is more advanced. Examples of Dbms as file system like XML. So when you're working in Excel, you try to save that. You will have a multiple format to save. Microsoft version 2007, 2009, and then XML, which will have the data as it is maintained. Any other data formation you save, it can change the data. It will look in different aspects. You might even see the formulas are missing. Okay. A few examples of Rdbms are SQL, Postgre, SQL Server, Oracle, etc. So are we clear between the difference of Dbms and Rdbms?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I have a one doubt.
Yep.
Sir, then what is JSON file and how it is used over here?
Mostly it will be in Rdbms framework. Okay. when you try to work on that particular application or in users, you will have an additional edge. When I say additional edge, you have multiple features to integrate to bring up the outcome. So can you give me an example where you are trying to work on that particular tool and you have encountered any issues or any kind of string missing? Have you ever used it?
Yes, actually, I have some JSON file with me, so I'm trying to patch it at SQL. So that is why I'm asking you.
So, well, we will do that thing, but later. Let me complete this entire thing, and then we can look into the aspects so that to see where I can help you on that. Will that be okay?
Sure.
Thank you.
Yes, sure. Definitely. Thank you, sir.
Moving to the next screen, into the SQL awareness, what and can SQL do? You can execute queries against each or any database. You can retrieve data from the database. You can insert records in database. You can update the records, delete the records. You can create new databases as and when requirement comes up. You can create new table as it is. Also, and then you can create a stored procedures in a database. Create views. And the last, not the last but the least, set permissions on tables, procedures, and views. Let's say if I am working on Excel, MS Excel, I'm taking example because it is more relatable and most of us have worked. Do you have any idea or knowledge that I can give access only for view to anybody else, which Excel I have worked and saved? Can it happen, or have you ever tried on that?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Right, you create some kind of application dashboard on that, and if you just save it and give them, it is quite evident that anybody can do any kind of manhandling on that and data can go totally wrong. But I can save, along with that I can give only view option, where in which it will be only readable. They cannot perform any activity. So the same thing is with the SQL. You can do multiple aspect works, and you can also give them a permission. Now this permission is not through a BA. Let me tell you, this permission is through a database management or manager or the admin who is holding it. He or she or they will only allow the permission, especially for a BA, to only view. As I said earlier, you don't have any authority or the right to edit, create, delete, modify. Only view purpose. Tables in SQL are termed as row, which is a record, column, which is as field. So if you see the example here, the section which is there with ID, name, city, state, pin code, items or the data given on the bottom will be termed as a field. And this entire section, all the 5 columns, will be termed as a rows. Are we all aware with the rows and columns now? How we'll define it?
Yes. Yes.
Great. So let's see next how it will go. I have taken example of a retail store. So I am not sure how many of you would have ever paid interest to see the screen on how it will look like, but it will have a master keys within it. Right? I can say like a primary key. Can you see a gold key placed on each of the table for sale ID, item ID, and the IT in the customer table?
Yes, sir.
Right? So these are the primary key features, which is dynamic. Now, when I say dynamic, they will not accept duplication. Okay. So irrelevant, let's say we all are here 100 people, and I'm trying to put that in an Excel in a tabular mode. I will first give it a serial number and then your last name, first name, and then your location and on what aspect you're connected. Let's say if I'm having 100 and I give all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 100, and let's say my name is Ravi and it's repeated 2 times. So the serial number, will it be 2 times or a single time? Is my question clear? You want
Sir, will you please repeat the question?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, I'll repeat. Let's say I'm maintaining an Excel now, and I'm having 3 to 4 headers, which beginning with serial number, and then your name, last name. I will tell you a name only, and location. Now it is easily understood in terms of name. and location, will it be repeated or it will be unique?
It is possible
Name and
to repeat it.
Correct. It's possible to be repeated. And the same
Yeah.
thing will go with the location. However, your serial number,
Yes, it will be repeated.
serial number will also be repeated.
Yes.
No.
The serial number is unique.
No, serial number is unique. Yeah.
Right. It is genuine. I mean, not genuine, but it is unique. That should never be repeated. Irrelevant of how many names. If I have Ravi, if you have Sneha, or somebody names over there repeated multiple times. Differentiating between the initials is a different factor, but your serial number should never change. Those becomes my primary key. Are you able to relate? The primary key, the golden key given over there with a different header name as item ID, sale ID, and ID.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
What happens if I have 111 or 222 repeated over there? You have any clue or any wild guess how it can relate?
Shows error.
Error is,
it will create duplicates.
Yeah, you will have multiple duplicates. By the end of the day, or rather by end of this entire activity, when somebody asks you how many are the people involved in this Excel on the data which you have maintained, you might end up giving a wrong number. Right? Because you don't know, or either you have to do a manual calculation. If it's for 10, 50, 100, you can still do that. If it's in thousands and thousands, you expect one person to sit and count on that aspect? That is not possible. Okay, so serial number helps you doing that. That becomes your primary key. If you see the example here for the sales, you can see a column which is in green color. Item ID and customer ID. Yes, no?
Yeah, yes.
Right. Now these two, item ID, customer ID. I'm sorry, but somebody is having a background noise. Can I mute you all for a, if you don't mind? Right. So your item ID and customer ID section over here for retail example are called a foreign key. Now, why do I call it, or why is it termed as a foreign key? Because these two threads, which is item ID and customer ID, these two are extracting the input from the item column. Can you see the cursor reflecting here on your screen? Just moving.
Yes.
In the item table and the customer table. Okay. So is somebody speaking or something? I'm a little confused here. So what happens? Example, when I have given a demo, like not demo, an example in Excel, you have a serial number and then you have a name and then you have a location. So that becomes my overall structure. That is when you are doing it manually, right? But guess what? If I ask you to remove one of the person, one of the cell out of 10, will it remove that particular cell or that entire row, or it will do what? Can any of you give me an example? Is my question clear to you all?
Remove the entire row.
Come again with your question, please.
Okay, let's see. I'm taking example for the item table. Can you see the cursor rotating, which I'm moving
Yes.
here? I ask one of you, remove only memory card cell from the Excel.
Okay.
Just imagine, remove only memory card cell from the Excel. When you try to remove doing control minus, that is how I delete. I say deleting. Will it be as it is once you remove, or it will damage the structure?
It will damage
It will
the
damage
structure.
the structure.
Perfect, because it will not understand how to remove only one cell. What it will do, it will either throw a message asking which of them, entire cell from the top or from center or from bottom. And if you go ahead, it might happen that second memory card 128 GB particular column is totally deleted. Here in SQL, when you are trying to work in this aspect, we have to ensure that none of the cells or field are being impacted or removed when I am commencing any command for deletion. Once again, as a BA, you will not have any access for deletion. For your knowledge purpose, if it is happening, you should be able to understand that something is going wrong here. So coming back to the sales screen or the sales Excel, item ID, customer ID, when I say foreign key, it is connected to these two. Whenever you work on a sales system or interface, the moment they scan the item, it will pull out the particular information that is in virtue of the scanner code or the barcode, and then it will throw out the price. Do we relate that? Have you ever seen that? When I'm going to work on this particular example, let's say item ID on the sales table. I'm having item ID 1. When I come to the item table, my first ID, that is item ID, is for camera. It is description of 64 megapixel, which will be captured here in the sales team or the sales grid, along with the customer ID. Where is the customer? My third table. Who is the second customer here with the serial ID second? Can one of you tell me?
Sean.
Yeah, it's Sean Smith. Irrelevant of what location and all those things, it's Sean Smith. So it will take customer ID 2 who has requested for that. Quantity is manual. How many you want, you will enter. Let's say 1. Whatever the cost, it will reflect there. Now his quantity here is given 3. So it's showing 90,000 as price. That means each set is costing me 30,000. Correct?
Yes.
So that way it will capture. Same thing goes again. My item ID this time is second in terms of sales field. My second item is again a memory card. Can you see an item table here? Memory card with 128 GB of character. And then the customer ID again goes second. That is again Sean Smith from the customer table. This time his requirement for the quantity is 1. That cost him 1,500 rupees. So when anybody, not only me or you, anyone scanning this thing in terms of a TV in a retail store, every item captures is reflecting to its individual aspects. Can you really understand what I have done here? Can anyone of you tell me why there are 2 different tables here, item, then customer, and why it is connected to the sales? Any hint? Any of you can give it.
One table is for
maintain.
Yeah, you go on.
How much
Differentiating the
inventory
customers and item.
and what is the sales?
Louder. I just give out your output confidently. Don't think about anything wrong.
Sir, please repeat your question once again.
I have a question here. Why do you think I am displaying an example as 1 table for sales, 1 table for item, and 1 table for customer? How does it relate to this example? Why is it needed?
Customer and item are in a database, and it is a final output. Sales is a final output.
Okay, and how about the remaining 2 tables?
Item table contains information related to that item and item description and everything, and customer table, like, it contains all the information related to customer, like what is the customer ID, what is the name of the customer and all. And that's how when any sales of any item is made, we correlate this table, item and customer, and we put it under the sales table.
Yes, good try. What you told makes sense and is true. Now, since this is page constraint, I was unable to give you the entire structure or the look how it will be. Every particular section or every particular row, when I call item ID or name or description in item table, will be maintained or stored separately. When you're running an SQL query, I will give a command create item. Okay, so my item particular syntax or the schema is created, under which you will have a separate table which you have to create, or rather a BA, sorry, not a BA, sorry, SQL manager or a technician will create like that, so that anytime they create a question or a link to delete, it will delete that particular aspect only. It will not hinder or remove other cells. Are you able to relate what I'm trying to explain here? Guys, how many of you think are able to relate? How many of you are confused?
Sir,
Can you please explain once again?
I will try to explain once again. Let's take example of sales team here. Okay, the sales Excel or the data what I have provided. In Excel, when I'm maintaining, I can see clearly there are sales ID 1, item ID 2, customer ID 3, quantity being 4, and price being 5 of the rows. Correct? Which is having their own independent on the individual values given. Like I asked the question, if I want to remove one cell, let's say quantity number 1, which is 1500, if I try to remove this one by deleting, it will impact my supporting or the following cells. Reason being, Excel cannot work in that aspect. Either you can remove entire column or you can remove entire row. You cannot remove one particular cell. If you do, you have to structure accordingly so that, or again you have to rework to bring it in one shape. Same thing when you're doing in SQL. Like I said, BA will only view. You will not do anything. But if a SQL technician or a engineer, if he is working on that, he or she or they will create one master table that is sales, and then it is all connected to the item customer in single row. Item will have one table called item ID. Item will have one table called name. Item will have one table called description, followed by all the inputs. Similarly, customer will have one table or identity called ID. Customer name separate, customer state separate, customer city will be separate, and customer pin will be separate. So you have in item section, you can see one table here, but in database, it will be 1, 2, 3 separate data. Are you able to relate or confused? How many of you are able to relate it? How many of you are confused? Can you see my Excel?
But sir, basic thing is BA is not doing any changes in the database, right? He's only need to view the database. Suppose if in case we need to remove one cell from the Excel, uh, then why BA will do these things? I mean, he need to just view the
Correct.
data, right?
He has to only view. Now, SQL is not
Yeah.
something we will tell about only the view purpose. Now, tomorrow, if you're sitting with a team and they ask you something that I want to do something, having that knowledge, I believe you will be in an equal position where you can help them. Does it make sense? Now, it is globally understood that BA will only view, nothing much out of that. But having an additional knowledge is never a bad thing.
Okay.
You might not be implementing that thing, but if you know, nobody can even at least tell you that, okay, you don't know. You can stand tall and tell that, hey, I know this thing. At least I know how to narrate it or view it. I don't need to work on that because you are there for that. I am different. Okay. So are you able to see my Excel now, all of you?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say I'll put here serial number. I'll maximize more so that you're able to clearly see. I'll put this in the beginning and I'll give a name, location, and gender. This becomes my master data. Let me create some rows so that it looks good. Now I will keep a name, let's say ABC, ABC and DEF, GHI, JKL. Okay, and location I'll put, let's say Delhi, Pune, Bangalore, and Mumbai. And I give here like male, female, and male. So are you able to understand what I have done here? Can you name it what I have done?
Yes.
What is it? What do you call it?
Customer database.
Right. So I can call it like a master data. That's the big reason I have given it header.
Okay.
There is some disturbance. Can you please go on mute? I don't know who is that. Great, thank you. And I give here, let's say 1, 1, 2, or 3 and 3. Does this look normal?
No.
No, sir. No, sir.
It will
No,
never
sir.
happen like that, right? It has to be 1, 2, 3, and 4. Sorry. That is how it is understood for a data. This is an example of
Correct.
Excel. Now here, this particular section will become my primary key. Reason being, me placing the serial number as primary key, like I said, this will be unique. It will follow in a sequence 1, 2, 3, 4, and blah blah, go on and on and on, whatever is there. However, this particular section can and might have a repetition, like I have corrected here. See, you have ABC from Delhi is male, and again there is ABC Delhi which is female. Let me make it a male. It will not look good. And then you have DF from Pune and JKL from Mumbai, and so on and on. I can create a few more lines which might relate, say, example being a fifth, which can be what comes out of JKL. I don't remember that now. MNO, and that comes out from, let's say, Chennai, and it's again a female. So are you able to relate? The database what I'm trying to maintain, I might have this entire thing repeated, but my serial number, which is the primary key, stands unique. Okay. Now this is the data which in terms I have created for retail. Okay. Reason being, me taking the example of retail is one of the most commonly used factors across the globe. This will not change. For me, if I have to delete one section of it, let's say I want to delete Mumbai. How will you delete Mumbai in Excel? Any idea? This cell, let's say I'll put control minus. Can you see what is appearing here? Team, are you able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
It shows four output. It says shift cells left, shift cells up, entire row, entire column. Now if I club here for entire column and click on OK, notice what happens. What happened? The
Entire column is deleted now.
Right. Now I will run same thing in terms of a row. Monitor what happens.
Entire row will be deleted.
Entire row is gone. But that is not my requirement in a database work. When I say I want to remove this particular aspect, which is Mumbai, okay, only that particular column or cell should be removed without disturbing any of the existing field. To work this in SQL, what we do, let's say I will create one more data which says customer. Okay, I will add here serial number, name, location, and gender. Now what I will do here, I will take this all name, location, and gender. I will place here, and so as I will give 1, 2, 3. And drag it down. So what I am doing here, out of this table, I am first of all creating for the customer, I will put it as a name. I am segregating this entire column or the data. Similarly, I will change or create one more for location. I'll put the name and this. Okay, only location. And then I will come with one more table that is for gender. So what I will have it here, I will have the serial number. I will have the genders. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now here when I
Yes,
say
sir.
name, I will take out this entire data because I want only name. How many names are there? When I say locations, I will have only locations. I will have no other thing.
Sir,
Yeah.
you mean to say here like the master retail data we will be splitting into individual columns.
It's not we, it will be maintained as such.
Okay, okay, fine.
Are you able to relate, all of you? Or any difference you find it from your real experience? If you have witnessed one.
But sir, with the help of queries, we need to segregate this, no?
Yes, that is how it will happen. First of all, you will create a structure of what it consists to
Yes.
understand
Then
how it will be done. Once you create the master file, or let's say in a specific manner of like parent, this is the parent, right? I can say it is a parent, and then I will segregate CL number separate, master name separate, location separate, and gender separate. That will
okay,
come
and
in the
the
child.
point is we need to and the point is we need to delete the Mumbai. That is D7. D7 we
Yes,
need to delete, right?
delete
Only.
it.
Then what will do for this? Only for
Now, once you're working in this aspect, you have to run a query which says delete or alter or remove. So when you
okay.
remove
We
on
need
this
to use
aspect,
query for this.
yes, you have to run the query. Now again, I don't see this happening in real time anywhere sooner or in the future also that VA will do. But if question being asked, can you delete a particular cell or data from an SQL? Your first answer should be we will not do. However, for the question, the answer could be yes, we can do with the command of alter or remove. When I say alter, you have a replacement with you. You might change from Mumbai to Dehradun. I'm altering it. Is it alter or replacement? Guys, yes, no?
Yes, it's an alter.
Yes.
It's an
Alteration.
That becomes
Yeah,
an alter for us. And if I have to only remove the Mumbai from the database, I will create remove, and that particular section will become blank without
One more thing,
handling this data. Yeah.
and one more thing, we have to change the name column to the numbers, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And same way location 1, 2, 3, 4. Likewise, we have to change, right, in master data.
As many master data, I mean the data, whatever you're having, the headers. These are called headers, right? So if I'm having 4 section of header, my master data, sorry, not master data, my other set of data will be equivalently distributed. So that whenever I'm adding a new person name here in SQL, I will add say like Kumar. It will capture here. You have or a database manager or admin have to enter this thing in terms of coding or the command. Reason being, any mistake or any deletion will not hamper my master file. It will remain intact. And it is not that he will do every 1 hour. One person came adding, one person came adding. No. It is a different structure. They have a different technique on which we do, but that is a little advanced edge, so we will not talk about that. For you, what is the reason to know is what is SQL, where are we best fit for that is only for view. That's it. So the example what I gave in terms of primary key, are able to relate now what is happening here? All of you? Guys, yes, no?
Yes, sir.
All of you understanding
Sir.
what I have done here?
Understood.
Yes.
Here, serial number is same for the in master key. It is unique, right? And in segregated data, how it is.
The left screen, what you see is master file or the master data.
Yes.
Hidden inside is your foreign key, which I can call it like a name or location. So example, when I am showing you in the PPT, I hope you're able to see the PPT.
Yes.
Now, if you see here, it's a sale counter. It says item ID and customer ID, and they're on throwing up the quantity along with the price for it. Okay. If I have to talk on the same level, these two, that is in green color under sales, are the foreign key. Why they are foreign key? Because these data is collated or extracted from your item table, which is on the right side, and the bottom, the customer. If I have nothing here, whatever you scan, whatever you enter, it will never capture any data, because there has to be something to key in, right? For me to work in
Yes.
this location, even if I put, example, I'm putting, for your information, I want to put, let's say, any name. Okay, so I get ABC here, correct?
Yes.
Now, why do you think it's showing me a wrong? How many of you know the Excel formulas? If you don't know also, it's okay. I'm just trying to showcase how it look like.
You
Let me
mentioned
check.
5 instead of 3.
Correct. So I have given a wrong command, wrong
Yeah,
search.
3.
Now when I put when I put 3, it will show me the exact value which is towards the ABC. Correct? Now if I put here example, I will not say, I will not keep it here like that. I will put JKL. So it will pull Mumbai, right? As a location.
Right.
Are you
Mumbai.
able to understand what is happening here?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
If I put MNO, it will pull Chennai. But there is a question which you should raise here, which you are not able to connect. I am trying to search this with the terms of name. Remember, your names are repeatable, right?
Yes.
There are 2 from Chennai, but the serial numbers are different. What is the question which you can trigger or you can raise?
Why
Nobody?
are why only one is there?
Yes, correct. Now, only one, because system or the VLOOKUP functionality is not that dynamic to differentiate between the duplicates. Whatever comes in the first syntax, it will capture that instead. Had that been a different aspect where I am trying to put the name in terms of serial number, do you think it will still give me the MNO Chennai for any of that?
No.
It will be the same, first one.
It will be same. It will be MNO Chennai only. But if I give my reference in terms of serial number, let's say I give here 6, it will pull this aspect or this value. Am I correct?
Yes.
Let me give you
Yes, sir.
help with this. I am trying to go a little deeper on this. So pardon me if you feel that it is not relatable, but now I make it here. Can you, one of you
Hello,
go on
Ashish.
mute? There is some disturbance happening.
Ashish, hello.
Yes.
Mute yourself. Getting trouble from.
Okay, I am in a silent room actually, but yes, I'm going to move.
Please, there's a disturbance. So, we look up. Sorry guys, the system is a little slow. So now, just imagine this is the structured data which is in Dbms or Rdbms for you, and I have two foreign key which is for name and location. Let me mark in different color. Okay, and I have given the CL number as 4. I want you to monitor what happens in name and location. What happens in name and location? Have any of you observed what happened?
Location has changed.
Name location has changed. Okay, if I give here 9, what happens?
Valid key.
I have no name here, right? Because I don't have any data in 9 number. But system is taking F over here because it is mapped to the serial number. Now the reason behind me giving example in this Excel is this particular data, whatever is here in terms of foreign key, that is your item ID and customer ID, will behave according to the data which you have keyed in item section separately, customer section separately. Now for me to perform it in more better way, example, any one of the name here goes missing. Well, let's say I'll delete it. Okay, and I will try to put here 4, which is again JKL and Mumbai. It should come. The location is showing is mail. That is 6, 5. One minute. Now for 4, I am okay. Let me pull in this. 44.
44, I guess.
Okay. So I'm using a stroke for us. Primary key as a 3. 3 will pull me the name of ABC, which is from the J column, and then the location, which is from the L column, because of 3, which is existing in data. However, if I try to work on the same thing in terms of 4, I can see name is visible, but the location is not there. Isn't it? Why do you think this happened? Guys, why do you think it happened? Any answer?
Because the location in L column, location column is blank.
Correct. Now in Excel, I'm able to justify that thing with some input like dash or not found, whatever. In Dbms, when I am deleting what particular cell, in this aspect, in sales, if I delete anything here, hello? Okay, so if I delete any of these sections, anybody speaking something?
मीटर खराब है शूट वही कर रहा है पर
Can who is this?
Everyone, please go on mute, please.
Okay, so like I said earlier, if I delete any of the cell or data from either item table or customer table, just in one delete, it is bound to hamper the following cell or the row, making to or leading to which your sales field or the main interface will behave differently. Like an example which I have showed, I have removed the Mumbai location here from the out of 4, which I have given as a primary reference key. It is showing me 0. Okay, but if I do the same thing in deleting, how it is, let's say in this way, can you see what happened? How many of you witnessed what happened? I'll repeat once again for you. I am deleting this particular blank cell. Okay. Now it gives me a pop-up message. I am going as per the shift cell up. For example, the shift is this following cell is removed up and it's showing 4 JKL as Chennai. However, as per the main data, this person stands from Mumbai. Do you think doing this will give you a correct data input in sales or any domain in this aspect if any of the data is missing or deleted?
No, sir.
No, then everything will be wrong.
No.
Right. That is where we never keep any of the name description in item section or name, state, city, or pin through customer section as our primary key. You will always maintain, or DB is always maintaining a primary key, which is always your serial number. This will behave according to your input and deletion. It will never show different. We will keep this in a dynamic way so that like 1 and then 2 and then 3, either you can hold this and drag it down to whatever aspect you want in here, or you can put a formula like what? This plus 1. And when I am dragging it down, sorry, it takes on the next pass. Can you see? Are you able to relate what is happening here? All of you? Till here, until here, it is a normal entry, one manual entry. Anything can be changed here. But from here, I have given a formula that is in reference to the prior cell as +1. So adding to which it will show me the correct number. Similar way, it happens here. Any, I'm sorry, you can have a mistake in any other corner, but your primary key will always be intact, making to which your quantity and price or any table which is connected to it as a foreign will behave or give you the proper outcome. Are you able to understand the difference between the primary key and to the rest of the body of the cell or the data? All of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So tables are rated by the keys, and table keys are used to create relationship with the tables. These all are like interrelated, interdependent. It must be unique, that is your primary key, and cannot have null values. You can maintain here is a 0 also. So you can maintain 0 also. But we all know 0 has no weightage. It does not make any sense. Foreign keys are used to connect two tables together. Like I said, this green section in the sales field, item ID and customer ID will help you to pull out the item information and the person who is ordering it in terms of customer. We will use this in terms of a join statement basically in Dbms or Rdbms. Clear? Okay. Next, we have certain commands in SQL. Prior to that, we have 4 categories which stand for DDL. That is for data definition language. DQL, that stands for data query language. DML, data manipulation language, and DCL for data control language. So let's see what is actually a DDL. What are the inputs in DDL? Not opening. Are you able to see the screen? Is it working anywhere? Give me.
Yes, sir.
Give me a minute. Let me pull it. Just a minute, guys. I'm trying to troubleshoot it. Why it is not opening? Okay, I'll run it a normal way so that you're able to see and not wasting much time on that. So can you see the screen now? All of you?
Yes.
So I have 4 queries of the command, which is DDL, DQL, DML, and DCL. DDL, okay, which gives you other attributes, that is in terms of create, alter, drop, rename, truncate, and comment. This is for your information purpose. Which in create will be doing what you can create. This is a command or procedure used to create new stored method or a structure. The stored procedure is a prepared SQL code that you can use to save for any existing data or any new one. Okay. When you say create for existing one, you can also create new headers or new columns. Alter, we all know what is alter. You can modify this, giving a different name or different key areas using the alter command on the SQL application. Drop table statement is used to drop an existing table. Many of us can also call it in terms of delete. Delete is different thing which will totally wipe off from the wipe it off from the existing structure. Drop for time being, it will be aside. If I am working in any Excel field and my drop field should be used just to keep that in hidden, and I can later pull it back also. We know what is rename. Rename is given if you have a data created for COPD. I wanted to make it COPD with the date today. I can rename it. Truncate. This allows the rows from a table, but the table structure in column, constant, indexes, and so on remain. It removes all the rows from the table. What are the rows? Guys, what are the rows? What is row here? What is column here? Can you tell me?
It's a record.
Fields. Record and field. Rows is a record and columns is a field.
This field?
This is row.
And this is
and
column.
This is column.
Sir, 2, 3, 4, 5 is that is actually column, and ABC are column, and 2, 3, 4, 5 are row.
Okay. You mean this way? So this becomes my column or row? Are we confused here?
This is row. This is row, no? Fourth row. Fourth row.
And this becomes?
B column. B column.
Yes. Whatever you see down straight is vertically is the column, and what you see in horizontal will be your row. Okay. So this is where truncate will help you to remove all the rows from a table. But the structure and its column, constraint, indexes, whatever is there in that particular data remain as it is. Comment to extend sections of SQL statement or to prevent execution of a statement, of a SQL statement. You can give a comment on that. Next we have DQL, that is data query language. I'm sorry that link is not working, so I have to show it separately. DQL holds only one command, that is first select, and this is used as used to select data from the database, and data return in a stored in result table called the result set. As a BA, we use this feature to search any desired data if required or asked. Like example, when I am running here any kind of theory, let's say I'm putting 6 here, this is my desired data, right? As per the VLOOKUP. Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes.
So this is where your select feature will work. So let's say this particular identity or the 6 value will be termed as a select. Or rather, I can place it here. So this becomes my select, and whatever you see are the input towards which I am trying to look for. The next is DML, that stands for data manipulation language. Have few sets of command, which is insert, update, delete, merge, call, explain plan, and lock table. So insert is something which you all know, add something new to the existing database with a structure. You will use the command of insert, which will add on new lines. Update is used to modify the existing record in the table. Delete, to remove it off either from the table or permanently out of the structure. Merge, if I have, like I was working here, I am trying to merge this data in this aspect of formula. I can club this formula what I'm given here as a merge. Or if I have to work in 2 different cells with the one name, let me say I say COPD SQL session, and now it becomes too big for anybody to understand. So what I will do, I can club this or rather merge, and it becomes one data altogether. So I am able to fit one lengthy statement in one proper cell. That is where merge will come. When I'm trying to club two different data. Call is also called as explain plan statement, supported for SQL and PL when executed dynamically. This is very rarely happen. I have never witnessed it personally. Explain plan. To determine the execution plan, Oracle database flow follows to execute a specified SQL statement. This statement inserts a row describing each step of execution plan to a specified table. When I'm executing any kind of plan towards any of the role or any of the table, let that be a master data. Obviously, I will not do any kind of changes in master data because it is connected to my child classes of the data. So I can do any changes in terms of my explain plan, and it will be integrated here, which eventually will be reflecting in the master section of the detailed data. And then I have a log table to prevent deadlocks and concurrent data changes and modification to maintain consistency and atomicity of the transaction on database table. How many of us here working in Excel have ever used a log table or log cell? Have you ever tried it?
Yeah, protect sheet, protect table.
Correct. So that nobody can damage it or delete it or remove or modify it. So that particular section is called a log cell, log column, or log data. In SQL, we call it log table. So it remains as it is. With the changes which can be done or to be made will be only in terms of a DB user, not user, sorry, the person who's maintaining on that. And then the last we have a DCL, that is data
Sir,
control language.
please explain call once again, please.
Okay, the call, or we can also term it as like I said, AKA, that is also known as explain plan statement, supported in PLSQL when executed dynamically. Let's say I have worked here, right, with the 6. The moment I change to 4, why it is not happening? Okay. Now let's say if I have these two particular cell blank, which I have selected, ABC and Delhi. Okay, and I have nothing here. I have given 0 value. What happens here? Can any of you tell me what happens here when I place 0 in serial number?
Not found.
It says NA or not found. That is because I have given the command like that. So when I am trying to run this in terms of SQL query or the screen, I am trying to call that command out. That word is called call. So when I give an input here in example of Excel, I put 3. It will throw out the name and location. Now these two attributes, what is happening, we can term that in a normal language, we call it like a what do you mean by dynamic? Guys, who is there? Can you please be on mute? It's little disturbing. Thank you. Why do you think we are calling it dynamic? What is the meaning of dynamic actually? Can anyone of you tell me what is the meaning of dynamic actually in terms of your understanding?
Changeable.
Pardon?
Dynamic means which can be changeable, which is something not static, like it's not constant. It can keep changing.
Somewhat relatable, somewhat no. The dynamic is something is subject to the ask or the call. How many of you understand when you're trying to book a ticket in IRCTC website or a flight ticket, there will be mentioned that this particular screen is having a dynamic price rate. Have you ever seen dynamic price rate? If you're booking for a flight ticket from Delhi to Bombay, morning 7 o'clock, it will show you 2000. Same thing if you check half an hour before or half an hour later, the price will be different. Do you think it happens in that way?
Timings.
No. It's not
Keep changing.
Your priority changes every second. If you check for Delhi Mumbai flight at 7 o'clock and if you check the same thing at 7:02, price will change at least for 10 rupees.
Timely changed manner.
Yeah, you have multiple reasons for the dynamic. Dynamic cannot be elaborated or explained for one aspect. Okay. Now, when I say I'm working in this particular table, I have given here 1, 2, 7, and it is in a normal structure. I have given 1, data 2, data 3, and blah blah blah. Now, when I know my data here is huge, I am having, let's say, my serial number goes all the way till 10,000. Can I expect myself or somebody to keep typing 1, 2, 3 to 10,000 and enter name, location, everything here? Yes, no?
No.
What will you do in that aspect? You will work in terms of dynamic field. What is the dynamic? I know my serial number is starting from 1, ending till 10,000. So I will put 1, 2, 3 and then drag it down to 10,000, whatever is there. I will put a VLOOKUP over here to make it dynamic. As and when my other data is updating, the same thing is back captured in my master data also. Does it relate? Does it give an understanding what is dynamic actually?
Yes.
So that is where we will use it. Your updation will happen on its own. Okay. So call will help you, and the output, what is there, will be executed dynamically. We are using the call. Very rarely it happens. Most of the data in current generation are already prefixed. You have only option to view. Okay. And the next option is, the last is DCL, that is data control language, where I have two access, which is very important, grant and revoke. What do you understand by the grant and what do you mean by revoke? Now,
Grant means
is
some kind of permission.
Pardon?
Kind of permission that we are giving.
Yes, which you will receive or you will give. Okay, and revoke?
Delete something.
No. Revoke is something you are not accessible. You are not authorized. So you can consider like grant as a start and revoke as an end. Means you will be given a chance by your database manager. Okay, you can review for this particular structure in a SQL application, and that is for limited time. They will tell you you hardly have half an hour to cross check, and then the access what is granted, they will revoke it. Means you are no more authorized after that half an hour. The 31st minute, you cannot view it. You don't have access. Clear? Guys?
So please, sir, please explain once again revoke.
I'll try to put this in Excel. Okay. So I'll try that you're able to relate. I mean, this is relatable. Let's say you are working in your office. Okay. And I'm trying to create a kind of mainframe. How many of you understand the word mainframe? Guys, do you understand or ever heard the name mainframe?
No, sir.
Can you please tell your name, one of your participate and give me your names. I don't know the name, so I want you to call your name so that I can enter
Smita.
over you. Nita, N-I-T-A?
Smita. Smita.
Smita, and next? Anybody else who want to?
Meenakshi.
Okay. Is it right? Meenakshi,
Sujata.
M-I or M-E?
Sir,
Sujata.
M-double.
Pardon my names.
M-double-E-N-A-K-S-H.
Perfect. Next.
Shweta.
Is it right? Oh, sorry.
SHWT.
Right.
Yeah,
And,
Sujata.
why no
Not
boys?
THA.
Only girls are participating. They are the one who want to learn. Boys are here to view only, I believe. They have taken 260 for this festival to view only, right? Participate, guys.
Sham.
And
Satya.
Manish.
now we will call your name. Okay. So let's limit till here. I can't keep typing entire day. And I say you people belong to one company. Okay. Let me give you one good name, Tesla. Feeling proud? And now you're working for Tesla as the company, but your process or project won't be Tesla. Clear with that? I've taken your process name as A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and your project stands like. So what does it mean now? Tell me. Can any of you relate what I have done now, and how do you understand the structure of it?
Same project but different process.
Yes. So your process can also be termed like an account. Project is a project. So it is from the client side. Okay. You might have a different account on this. Now, let's say, okay, I'll remove this PR. PR is nothing, primary reporting and secondary reporting. And you have data here, which is, let's say, important. Not important. Not that important. Simple. Shareable. And then confidential. And then super confident. So I am just trying to set the data priority. Okay. Sorry. क्या है ये? So if I go with the name here, I am having a priority as important, not that important, and again simple, shareable, confidential, whatever. As a DB technician who is working in that particular area for that project, if any of them, let's from Smita, Meenakshi, Shweta, Swata, Shyam, Satya, Manish, these all people drop an email to him requesting, please grant me access for so and so reason. Now, being in the same company, they might cross check also, and within 15-20 minutes, you will receive an email that there is a grant and no granted reasons for it or people. Why do you think it is like that? Are you able to understand what I'm trying to do here? You have this set of people who are working for this project, but in the same project, and their data priority, what is being given to them, stands here. You all will place a request to DB technician on the manager stating, I want to have access to view the data. He will drop an email. Some people are granted, some people are not granted. Why?
As per priorities, sir, they are important or not important. So those who are important, they will grant to access the email.
Correct. Okay. I'm not taking you all people as a BA, but I am taking you people as an IT tech. Sorry. Let's say a developer. Okay. All of you are developer. One among you is a BA. If I take a name, you'll feel bad. Other will feel bad. So I'm not taking a name like that. One of you is like example, BA. Now, if that person sends an email stating, kindly give me access for these all structured data because I have to review the structured way how it is created. Since you are a DBA, the DB technician or the people working over there will grant you access with a time limit, let's say 30 minutes. So until 30 minutes, you have the access which is granted. Post 30 minutes, any 1 minute, your access is revoked. So you will have no more access to view that. You can't even cross through that structure itself. When I talk about the mainframe is nothing but your entire structure of work. If you're working in a banking domain, you will log in through a secured gateway, which will hold either OTP or a system derived numbers. That is a mainframe access. so that no other person can interfere in that or can try to access it, trying to avoid from the hackers. That is the main thing. So it is not the requirement here. Are you able to understand what is grant access and what is revoke access now? All of you? Yes, no? Shyam, Satya, Manish, are you clear or confused?
Yes, completely.
Yes, sir. Can you please repeat?
Repeat what?
If one of us IT developer is raising the request to grant access for this table, this database, then
Then admin should approve it. Once admin approved it, you will able to access it for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
After 30 minutes, your access get revoked. Sometimes it's auto revoked or sometimes manually.
Yes. Most of the time they will keep it in auto mode so that if he is on break or he is forgot also, system will auto recall your access. Okay. So considering each one of you working for a different process, however, same project, if you request an admin, kindly grant me access for so and so or area of region to review, they will grant access depending upon the possibility. 30 minutes I'm giving you from my side. However, at times it will be also for 5 minutes. There is a time limit for everything. They will not leave it like that for hours and hours. If it is very important, they have to receive an email from the higher management telling that let them have an access because they have to pull multiple or view multiple structures. So that time they will give you a day. Otherwise, 5 minutes is max, not 10 minutes. 30 minutes I told too long.
So like if we want to review something, some report like that, we have access for 30 minutes and it will be revoked after 30 minutes. And in between, if anything is not saved, then what should be done?
In between what happened?
If anything is not saved and the time is revoked.
You have nothing to save there. You are only there to view. Remember one thing,
Only
you will
the
not
access.
edit. Your access will be as it is. Your access is given only for view. That grant access does not give you access to do anything else. You are entitled to only view. Nothing else. As a BA, you are having grant to access view. No edit, no create, no delete, no modify. This is common across the IT domain for BA.
Okay. For this SQL purpose on this grant and revoked, for this we can only access and just view.
You cannot access, you have to get the access.
I mean, we can just view.
Yes, you can only view. That is in terms of a timing. I mean, a time limit is there, 5 minutes to half an hour or whatever, depending upon the area of query. And it is not that simply you will get today, log in today and you will drop an email. That has to be channeled or approved from your PM or your management CEO or CTO. That I want to view on this aspect, kindly grant me an access approval. And then an email will be triggered from there and also that kindly provide access to so and so person because of so and so reason and ensure that time limit is so and so. That's it.
Yeah,
In that time you have to clear. If you clear till here, so I will share you how does it look like in terms. Now I don't have access for the actual SQL application. It is not supporting. So I had to figure out other way, which I found in terms of MySQL Workbench. Okay. Now this is the link where you can download. You can go to the Google as simple and type MySQL Workbench download. This application is good. Why I'm recommending it? Because it is an entirely proxy setting. It would not require you any additional server or this remote, that remote. Whereas the normal application require multiple features to be added. Okay, and if you can see, there is a screen. I have created one more here, which is in terms of my institute, which says COPD. This is again a proxy setting, which I can access, I can work. But as an all application, whichever you tell is free, you have some of the reasons where you will be stuck up. And we'll talk more on that. So are you clear with this MySQL Workbench, what it is? All of you? Guys? Responding yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Next, I'll show you how the screen will look like, the interface. Okay. So this is how, if I pull one of the settings at COPD, which I have worked, I have pulled like this, and it shows my interface where section which is in center, you can upload, no, not upload, sorry, you can frame the command. And if your command is correct, bottom you see in the output section, it will give a right tick which says command saved successfully and it's effective. Left side you have schemas, wherein which it will show how it will relate in terms of a database. So if you can see, I have given a command already as create database test DB, and for execution you have to select this entire thing, and then you have to click on either one of them. You can enter, you can create that and click on Control Shift Enter or Control Enter. Control Enter basically it will be for that particular command which you have selected. For entire command, what you give and do, you have to enter Control Shift Enter. Are you able to relate what I'm trying to tell? Is it clear, guys?
No, sir, please explain.
So this is the interface on Workbench, MySQL Workbench. Okay, these are some parameters where you have left side and navigator pane with the schema, which will show you how your structure looks like. Okay, center you have a query frame where you can enter the commands, what you're trying to work, you're trying to create. You will enter create database and then the what is the name, test database or XYZ followed by a semicolon and then the other syntax. Right side you have SQL addition, which is just for information purpose. I can hide it also. If you see on the top right side, you have 3 window screen. If I click on this, my left side data will disappear or it will be hidden. If I click on the center, my output section will be hidden. If I click on the right side, my SQL additions section will be hidden, and I will be left with center screen and the following screen. Above you have multiple buttons which says file, edit, view, query, database, server, tools, scripting and help. In the center section where I say query 1, if you see here, you give up your command, let's say create database test DB and ending with semicolon. We have to check whether the command what I have given is correct, is it executing or not executing. To do that, you have to select this first of all, and then you will go to the query button, click on that and click execute current statement. So once I'm doing this, what happens next is, can you see in the bottom? It shows green color. It says create database test DB, 1 row created and it is effective. Are you able to see it? Team?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
And
sir.
the same thing, I have changed the command here given create database department database. Now understand one thing, when I am creating, what I am creating a database. So I'll give a name like department or gender or any name, whatever you think about it, ending with DB. So you're giving a command that I want to create a database with so and so name and is DB, ending with semicolon. You select entire thing, you run that entire query, and it gets saved in the structure and it can be reviewed under action output in this form. Can you see? Next, I am running one more test here which says create table test, but there is a mistake due to which my table is not saved. I'm sorry about the line, it doesn't go more straight on this. So can one of you tell what is the wrong here that test is not saved or is showing an wrong error with examples what I have shown now?
Actually, it is already created one with the name test.
Irrelevant, I can create multiple.
There is no
DB is
bracket.
not written.
Yes, DB is not written of a test. So it is an incomplete command. System may not understand. It will understand table. Okay, but what table? Test table or database what? You have to define that. That is when it will capture you. So this is what
Table.
it is. Pardon?
That means we need to write create table, test table.
Yes. And then you are trying to come up with a structure, right? Database. And creating a table I am understanding that I will have multiple inputs towards it. That will be termed as a database, right? So you have to give the DB at the last. Are you able to relate?
Yes, yes. Like any Excel document, there is an extension called XLSS.
Yes.
And document is called DOC. So it database should be have end with the DB.
Yes, that is a kind of syntax which should not be missed, missing to which your table will not form and it will keep getting error message. Okay. And the next is, this is the kind of schema, a schema which is being created, which you can create in SQL Workbench. The reason being me promoting Workbench is, it is very easy to operate, but sometimes there is an issue in terms of accessibility. The same issue is also found in other SQL application if I'm running at home. Until unless it is a purchased version, other features will restrict you from many aspects. It might ask you a proxy or a password number, which is not there with you. So that is a different scenario. Leave it off. When I talk about the schema, if you see in the left side of the screen, there is schemas, right? I have created here as a SQL test 1 schema. And then next is COPD SQL demo. Can you see the same thing here? Guys, are you able to view it?
Yeah.
So I have created one, and then it has created a database for me, which will have tables, which will have a views option. Remember, views, you will only view for this. Stored procedures and functions. So if you are being given a chance to work in SQL in your company, asking you can only view, they will give you the access only for this portion. You can access the SQL, but you will not be able to operate any other aspect because there is no access for you. You should know what you're trying to view in this to figure out how to extract the structure depending upon the requirement. Okay. Are you able to relate here, team?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So once I'm exporting the data, what I have saved in my SQL, this is the functionality, how it will look like. Now, if I tell in this aspect, it will be different for you to understand. But if you're trying to download this Workbench in your system, you'll be able to relate more easily. Okay. So this is how it will look. In the bottom, it will say like starting import and your data, wherever you give the folder to be downloaded, maybe C folder or D or whatever, your entire structure will come there in terms of either a PDF or a kind of different interface where you can view how the structure is lying there. Now, example of schema. Can you see this? What do you think it is? Team, any answer?
The company
It's a
wise.
company database.
Yes, I have tried to work on this to gather this input where in which it holds the schema of entire input from the process perspective. Okay, if you see the left hand side on the first, it's a DBA or database organization for employee. So what in all is required for me to maintain a table? Employee ID is the priority for me, and that will be integer. First name, last name, which is a varchar syntax, and then address will be varchar. Constants, employee ID, employee ID. So I'm giving in that aspect. So every entry what you make, system will keep adding it and it will move next. And it will come in a hierarchical way. The system space will first go to employee ID and then the name, followed by a dynamic primary key, that is your serial number. This will head towards the job history. Employee ID, company ID, position ID, project ID. What do you mean position ID?
So n varchar means n
It's
number of variables in
character.
character.
Yes, correct. You have limitations. I mean, you can place a limitation. You can also make it delimit. But again, leaving it delimit, it will take room for the storage. So we limit
We have
it.
mentioned In description, maximum also. So
Yes,
max,
that's what.
max.
I have given a max. It's given a max so that, or rather, they are thinking that I don't know up to what extent the name can go. And this is for description, not for the name.
And what about this project skill? PK project skill underscore project ID.
Where is it?
Project skill.
This one? Database of skill?
Yeah.
PK skill ID. Your skill, what you now when you are working for a company and you are, for example, tenured person, say 5-6 years. So will it be good enough that you are in the same skill set what you had? When I talk about the skill set, it is not about the work, it's about the IT also.
Okay.
Okay, in that aspect, because this is for a company perspective creativity. So when we are maintaining this data, we will have a certain headers. That's the employee ID, employee first name, last name, which process, what designation, what project, who is the primary reportee, secondary reportee, what skill set is having, when is the date of joining, whom you're reporting, how many years it has been working in this company. There is a huge headers. So imagine if your company is having 1 lakh employee. Imagine your structure, how it will be. So
This
DB
is the
schema,
means the scheme how to go with the database.
yes,
This is how we'll be
when you
creating.
work on the structure of SQL, this schema will show you the separation. This is one table, what you said, create employee table. Where is the cursor?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not able to see the cursor. Give me a minute. Can you see the left side panel? You have DBO as the employee on the screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Left side.
So this is your one table, which will hold the input of your employee ID, all the people, all the employees, what's last name, first name, address, and employee ID with the reporting to primary person or primary key. Can you see the constants? Primary key here, PK employee ID means 1, what is the employee? What is the employee ID? 2, 3, 4, 5, that is your primary key. Similarly, it is heading towards your job history. That consists of your employee ID, company ID, position ID, and project ID, and everything will come followed by a primary key. Remember the Excel which I showed you, where I am having 1, 2, 3. Yes, primary key is important for every aspect. The next from this job history, it will go to the project ID.
So this will help us to read the database, or this will help us to create the database?
No, you will not create. First thing. So I'm not going to in depth of create or anything. What I'm trying to tell you is when you are working or when you are viewing any structure in SQL, and when you want to see if it is connected in what aspect, DB schema will help you relate it. How many of us have seen Google Map?
So can you please repeat the last sentence? Means the DB schema where
DB schema will help you understand how the entire operation is connected. The structure, how it is relatable. If you remember this exam in the Excel which I have given, can you see the Excel? This aspect. Now I have told here, can you see the Excel, right? All of you?
Yes.
Now,
Yes,
this
sir.
one portion, 2, 3. I will take this as a structure of name, location, gender. And this is my master data, which will hold information for all the structure. Imagine the same thing here. This is a master file, which is a concise view. Whatever you input in the employee ID, it will throw that input only. However, how it is coming, it is for the job history first of all. I will take job history as my first table here. Okay, and this job history will consist of all the input what is related towards the serial number in the name. Second, it will move from here, which is connected to the project ID. Can you see this here? Project ID, the red underline which I have created now, integer value.
Yes,
This
sir.
is extracted from your project particular field or the schema. Simultaneously, your position ID, your position is here. Then your company, then your project skill, and then your skill. Each of them is interconnected, and then on you get this master's file. or master database. This is called schema. This will give you a bird's view in which you will be able to relate this entire data what you are looking is in a breakup of these many aspects. So if here any of the deletion modification happens with DB engineer and all, it will not impact any which ways here. That is the reason, since a BA does not know entire knowledge about this SQL, even if they are having a knowledge, they are not allowed to do anything like create, deletion, modification, except view. Are you able to relate, understand what is DB schema now, why it is important, and how do you understand it?
Sir, if we need to frame this in one sentence, one or two sentences, then the DB schema helps to understand all the structure of the database.
Perfect. A structure requirement, a structure need in one aspect or in one look. Okay. How many of you have ever seen the CRM, customer relationship management tool, or how to say?
Yes.
If you have witnessed, what we see the interface is actually the masterpiece, but to bring it up in that one screen, there are multiple screens acting behind. If one of the screen fails or don't give the input correctly, your output in CRM will be incorrect. Okay. Next example, you might have observing your net banking screen. I believe all of us use net banking. So when you log into net banking, you have multiple sections along with the account information. What we see is the one cluster, one entire console, but behind it there are multiple things happening. Imagine your account information page or directory is not working. Even if you don't access net banking, it will show a 00 number over there where you have the account link with 1 lakh. And you get scared that time. What happened to my money? That could be due to two reasons. Either your money is gone or that in particular data structure or database schema is not working correctly. All of you able to relate it now? Yes, no, not clear?
Yes.
Right. Yes. So we'll move to the next screen. Some important commands which we call in terms of syntax. Just for your information. Select from table name. Select customer name, city from the customers. So this will throw out an information that I'm looking for so and so person from this city, and he's my customer. Next is delete, which will be in terms of table where conditions apply. Delete from customer where customer name is Alfred Schuttersley, whatever, I don't know, I can't pronounce it, so pardon me on that. Then we have create database name, which I have showed you in the the PPT. Command will be create database, test database. The reason behind giving test, you can add any name. So I would recommend each one of you to download this SQL Workbench. It will give you an understanding on how it works. More practice, it will give you a little bit understanding. Drop database name. Drop database, test DB. So these are the commands which will give you. Mind one thing, you can only work on this if you have a structure in your system. And otherwise it will show a null value or a cross verification telling that no such table data exists. Truncate in terms of number and decimals. Truncate, select truncate with this number 345 by 56 is 0. We understand the Excel formula, right? We were working in X lookup, V lookup. The same feature comes here, but we don't put VLOOKUP and all. We will put the value on what range I'm looking for in terms of decimals and then the 0 value. You can truncate the data. Next is insert string position number and string 2. You can give in a way like I have mentioned here for select insert COPD nurtureba.com. Example, my number is 1 and the string 2 will become 9. So when I run this one, it will show me COPD nurtureba.com with quotation of example. Grant command in SQL. We are discussing about it now. So don't get scared with this many names over here. This is how it runs. You have to give the grant. This is given by your database technician or the manager who is running it. Grant previous name on object name username to who it is. Is it public or private? Depending on the role name with the grant option. Can you see the last is grant option? That will give you an option where in which time will reflect. Okay, and the next is revoke command in SQL, which will be in this aspect. Revoke privilege name on object name from username to who it is, again public or private, and the role name. So these are the few commands which are used or given by an DB person to the BA, and BA can run accordingly to it for referring or viewing purpose. Thank you all. I hope you are able to understand what happened. All of you clear or you have a doubt? You have a doubt.
Sir, can you explain once again DQL?
DQL, what is that?
That it's related to that commands what you showed.
It's
Four commands.
DCL. DDL DCL, you want to ask?
Yeah. SQL commands.
Which you wanted to know? Can you see the screen?
The data query language. The 12th. Yes, sir.
So this is having only one option or feature for you in DQL that will be given in terms of select. This is used from a database, right? So now, like how we have showed you an example of Workbench, and you have multiple tables created. Okay. Now, if I have to go to one specific table, I will take you to the schema so that you are able to relate more easily. Can you see the schema now, all of you? Visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I know I'm having how many components here? That is, one is employee 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 6 components which is linking to one master table, that is employee. Now, try to understand one thing. When I am trying to use an option called select, that means I am trying to command in SQL that I am looking for one particular area or one particular structure. Either it could be either job history or company or a position or a project skill or only a skill where you want to view any information. So once you give a command like how we did in the past, here I have given create database test DB. I will give a value here or command here as select database starting for skill. This is the skill here, right? In the last row, I'm in the table. I'm trying to pull the information on this. Now, if I pull the skill with select, it will throw out the skill definitely. But you will have to rework on that as in for whom it is. Out of 1 lakh employees, whom you want to find out. So I can give you a guarantee that my name is Ravi and it will be a common name across my location or across India. And so as Shweta or Mansi or anybody. Do you think you will sit and search with the name as Mansi, Ravi or Shweta like that and you get the input?
No.
You will not find it. So the select has to be defined in the aspect of the primary key or your employee ID. If you have the employee ID, it is easy for you to find out. All of you agree with that?
Yes, agreed.
Right? If you have employee ID, you can pull the exact person to who it is because it is primary. It is unique. In this aspect, I don't have to maintain even a serial number. I can go with the employee ID because it cannot be repeated. It will be unique always. Company ID, it will be unique, but with some different characteristics and all those things. Your position ID might be same because you are working for same domain and you and one more person is also manager. Project ID will be common for all, but your employee ID is unique over there. So are you able to relate the option usage of select? Does it help you? What is the use of select here? May I know the person who asked for select? I am not able to recall the name.
That's me, sir.
Yeah. So are you clear now with the option of select? What is the use? The data
Yes,
written
sir.
in store is a result table called the result set. As a BA, we use this feature to search any desired data if required or asked. So this is overall for the SQL. I would request you all to go with this link in your personal laptops or device. Download the Mysql Workbench. This is one of the best. Yeah.
So I have a question in the schema section. The
Okay.
how can we differentiate between how can we differentiate that what is the master data? Because what I see as per your earlier description, that job history is showing the all the data that is being divided among the subclass.
Correct.
So how can
Now,
DBO employee be differentiate?
okay, good question. Let's say I'm taking example of your domain of BPO, okay, or let be a KPO, whatever. Now, when you are trying to log into your system, you will have an application which will be like performance tool, where you will key in, day out production, right? It will give out what you have done in terms of productivity. So, like that, there are, let's say, 500 people in your process. Just imagine, it does happen in real time also. Now, for me to pull out the information for one specific person, do you think I will go ahead in the database and do Control F or apply filter in Excel or database? Will it ever happen? I'm asking you a question. Any answer? Guys, if you don't reply, can you
Can you
tell me your
repeat the
name?
question, sir?
I
can
didn't.
filter.
1 minute. Tell me your name first of all. Who asked this question? Shweta. You have a question that towards the BPO, if you're trying to find out in the schema understanding, what is the importance of job history where it is having employee ID, company ID, position ID, and so on. Is that the question? Now, like I said, any company you work, let's say your company is having a strength of 10,000 people, example, out of which 1,000 or 1,500 is only from your process. Quite big. Okay. Now, when I am maintaining a database in terms of SQL or schema, it becomes evident that I have to break that entire structure header by header. First thing, you will have employee name. I require that. Second thing, what process is he? What is the gender? Whom you are reporting to? Who is the secondary reporting? When you have joined, and so on. What will give me an edge, which will be important here for the data, which will be not repeatable? Is my question clear?
Employee ID.
Employee ID or else?
Primary key.
Perfect. Primary key. Now, if you look in this schema, what is showcased on your system display, the section of DBO is employee. This is a small view, and this is a kind of presentation when which employee ID integer is number, right? I can key in the number over here, and I will be able to figure out this employee ID belongs to which person or which employee, which will have his first name, last name, address, and your constants employee ID, which is again the PK, primary key. It will figure out on which aspect he or she is. Okay, and this is not the end of it, because of the restriction. I'm not able to show the entire thing. It will show as multiple feature whom you are reporting to, or a kind of job history. So this all is connected with the job history, which is shown on the next screen or the next window, which will hold your employee ID in terms of number, it is integer, company ID in terms of integer, position ID in terms of integer, and project ID in terms of integer, along with start date. Start date will be considered as when you have joined. Finish date will be a date. If you see here, it is grayed out, means you are still active. Okay. Description in a varchar variable given in a maximum string. You can keep editing as long as you want. And then achievements, if applicable, reasons for leaving, reasons for leaving the company or the project. Are you able to relate this diagram in terms of your company if you're working for any BPO or any HR domain?
Yes, yes.
This will give you a separate window, making to which any input, whatever you create. As a customer, we will have one interface which will look like your name and all those things. But as in schema, this is how it is segregated behind or in your SQL language. So
As one
that,
tables.
yes, everything is interconnectable. Any breakup, any break from any of the section, your main screen will be corrupted. You will not find any input happening.
So job history is our master data.
Yes. And your employee section is the interface which will come in a normal phase for the customers to view. When you get a prepared food in a hotel, you are having it. Same food when you are preparing at home, you'll spend hours and hours. And you know that each section has different. You have to chop this thing, you have to chop that thing. Oil has to boil. You have to put in a gas burner, switch on this, that. All those things are the various aspects of ultimate end outcome is food. So this is my, not food definitely, the employee section, but my interface where I will see all the collaboration of these all schemes. Clear? All of you? Any answer or suggestion?
So these are all individual tables that we can visualize, right?
Yes, you can visualize. It will give you an understanding what is stored in what aspect, how it is happening, so that you are able to relate it easily. Otherwise, it will become a question that on what angle or perspective it is being driven. So if you are working in your time, real time, you'll be able to relate it also. That okay, this is from this aspect, and this is the what do you call? This is the structure, how it is accepting the data, and I'm getting the visualization.
Okay.
Basically, job history is the master data and employee is the interface.
Correct. This is the interface, how it will look like. So what happens like?
And other things.
Pardon? Other things are?
And other the position, company, project, and all are the subclasses of the job.
Correct. You can call it in that aspect, subclasses, without which your interface will not be able to throw out the relevant information if you try to search for it. Okay?
Okay.
All of you understood what is Sql and what is your
Yes,
role and how to understand schema and how to run it? I will request each one of you to log in or not log in, download Workbench in your system so that you can give a try. It will help you relate more easily. Fine?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes,
then.
sir.
So,
Can you share the link again?
yeah, link will be shared with you. I have showcased here, right? When you get the recording, you can see this one. It is quite easy to bring up in your Google interface. Can you see
From
here?
where we can get this?
In Google. Okay, you want me to show in that aspect? I will do it for you. Can you see my Google screen?
Yes.
All of you?
Yes.
Your Google. And in the Google search bar, type SQL Workbench download. Can you see here? Click on that. The first link what appears. Okay. Go into this section and it will reflect something like this. This is in option of 64-bit also and 32-bit. Whichever is supporting for your laptop or device, you can download. Hardly it will take 5 minutes something and you can access it. All of you clear?
Yes, sir.
So,
Sir,
yeah.
how we can get this sessions recording?
You will be receiving it into mails from your student coordinator. So they will contact you. Have to contact them, and they will be sharing you with this so that you can use it for your reference purpose.
Sure.
Okay. Fine then. Thank you, all of you, for your participation. I hope I was able to explain you about the SQL. And for any query and more assistance or practice, please download Workbench, and it will help you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you,
And
sir.
have a
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you, all of you.
Thank you,
Have
sir.
a great rest of the day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.